Welcome to Quarter Twins Weekly Review, everybody.
Woo!
That's a really good intro for ya. This is Quarter Twins Weekly Review, the show with only one question. Watch anything good lately? Maybe,
Dude,
maybe not. I think so.
Flawless tagline execution right there.
Thank you.
It's not every day we get through that without messing it up, so.
That's 100% true. It is definitely
props
not
to
every day.
Jordo.
I didn't rehearse it, even.
Maybe that's the key.
Yeah, just improv it. Before we jump right into the nitty gritty fun of it all, we just want to remind you all that there are time codes in the description of this episode if you want to jump around to the
doop-a-doo.
If you want to jump around to the ba-doo-ba-doo, if you do want to jump around to the different topics we covered during this episode, feel free to tap onto those time codes. They'll be in there.
Does it work on Spotify if you actually click the thing?
Yes, it does. If you
cool.
tap
I wasn't
tap
sure.
on it, and it also it's visual. You can see it on the, what would you call that? The line where the little icon appears that moves slowly from the left to right.
The play line.
Yeah.
Maybe.
On there, it shows you all of the things. We just want to remind you, if you enjoy the show, please just share it with your friends and family and relatives, and family and relatives.
And your friends.
And your friends. Whether that be saying, hey, there's a podcast called Quarter Twins Weekly Review. You should listen to it. If you would say that either in person or over the interweb, you could do that also on social media or whatever.
And you can see the links to all our social medias just below us.
Yes.
As I've officially made it so I won't forget those anymore, because that's now the only image I have is the one we're using.
Yeah. You can see one of these things is not like the other. That's our Twitter, and we posted. I actually forgot to post my score for this movie.
I was looking for it because I
literally
wanted
forgot
to see where you were, and I didn't see it.
Is that indicative of how I feel about this movie? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Out. I don't think so either.
Probably not.
But we are going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, a new movie coming out. There's going to be spoilers for that movie. Speaking of the time codes, we'll show you where those spoilers happen, so you can skip, or you can jump right to the spoilers if you are just ready for it. And with all that being said, Joshua,
me?
Watch anything good lately?
Oh, yeah. I watched something. I did, you know. That's kind of my job right now, is to watch good things lately.
I hope so.
So lately I've been watching something that comes out on Wednesdays.
Oh.
Wednesday.
Sometimes it's good.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yep.
And it's not Willow, which was
no.
canceled. Rip Willow. You'll have to watch it now. Now you know it's only like, 8 episodes or something?
Yeah.
You can commit.
Season 2 was canceled, I believe.
Yeah, they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Because the show is terrible.
Yeah.
But it has a soft spot in my heart, you know?
Yeah. You'll always look fondly upon it. Maybe we'll watch the movie one day.
Pass.
Yeah, couldn't do that. Couldn't be me.
We're going to talk also, I would like to bring up The Mandalorian.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, I've seen it.
So, amid all of this, I don't know if you've been seeing it on your Twitter timeline.
Probably.
But amid all of the Mandalorian discourse, which there is many.
There's
much.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there's just a barrage of tweets of people loving and hating The Mandalorian, and wanting Dave Filoni to bear their children, wanting Dave Filoni to not exist anymore,
cease to exist.
It's in the entire spectrum. I am tentatively pro Mandalorian season 3.
Here we go.
Mandalorian season 1. That's my personal opinion.
It's your opinion.
It's not the opinion of almost everyone else.
Yeah.
And my biggest complaint is that it's episodic and pointless, more or less. Season 2, completely irrelevant. It's like the Last Jedi of Mandalorian seasons. Some people like it, some people don't like it. In the end of the day, it doesn't matter at all.
almost everything that happens in that season is retconned in this season, just like those movies. So yeah,
and they're horrible atrocity.
Not to say season 2 is bad. It's just they I don't know. We should do a whole Mandalorian retrospective when
we could
next week when the finale happens, because it's a strange show because it jumps around a lot, and we can get into that because this episode does things. I suppose the past 2 episodes have been doing things.
Yes. So fast forward now to season 3 of The Mandalorian. We have a growing plot, synergistic with the previous season's side plots, perhaps, have become the main plot now, as well as we're now focusing more on Mandalorian lore and culture and the people rather than just the one.
Sure.
And people are pissed because, and I think this is the biggest complaint of a lot of people, is that The Mandalorian used to be its own thing, completely outside of the larger universe. And now we're going to Coruscant and we're checking out with Lizzo, and it's all, there's Dave Filoni called it the Mandoverse.
Yes.
Right? And people are like, oh no, it's terrible, it's bad. And for me, you know what that means? When there's a verse, when there's a Mando verse.
Yes.
Say it.
That's there's room for building of worlds, you might say.
I love a good bit of world building, and we're building worlds here, folks.
Right.
And that's what I like. So the episodic stuff is still not great. I didn't love the Lizzo episode. Whatever. But we're getting into the good stuff. We're building an actual story with roots and people to care about and people to hate. And it's, there's something there now. It's material, and I like it. I kind of want to get rid of Baby Yoda. Whatever, Grogu, can you just go build the Jedi Order with Rey?
Because they did get rid of him at the end of the last season.
Yeah, they did do that once.
Because that was the point of the entire first 2 seasons.
Of course.
Yeah.
So, naturally, here we are with him again.
I want to defend the first season here for a minute.
Okay. Hit me.
Because I think while we both enjoy season 3 or what it's doing with, as you say, the world building.
Yes.
I think the reason so many people have fallen off and have stopped caring, you might say, is because the first season is very, like you said, like it's very episodic, and I think it worked so well because it was a completely new character that you didn't have to have any preconceived notions about the Star Wars universe to enjoy this show, because one, you got an original character, a bounty hunter guy, and you got a cute little baby Yoda. And those two things combined, it's easy to jump in. You don't really need to know anything going in. So it had broad mass appeal because it has a cute little baby Yoda in it also. And people are like, cute. And then the second season is like, hey, you seen the Clone Wars? Hey, you seen Rebels? Hey, you seen all the other Star Wars movies? You know who Supreme Leader Snoke is? And you and I were like, yes and yes and yes.
Except for Rebels.
Especially in this season, by this point, people are done. Because now the show isn't even about Din Djarin or Baby Yoda anymore. No. It's literally not even about them. They could not be in it.
You can't even attempt to make it so.
No. And again, for the two of us, we're like, sure, make it a Bo-Katan series. Mandalorian, retaking Mandalorian, all that stuff. We enjoy that. But I think they're continuing down this road, they're gonna lose. They're gonna continue to lose people along the way. Take my wife Sam, for example. Oh, no. She loved the first season, and the second season started. She doesn't know who Bo-Katan is. She doesn't know who these other people are. So she stopped watching, and she doesn't care anymore. So I think that's just indicative of the broad the general majority is like, the show sucks. And also, there's a general, I would say, from my personal preference, there's a production quality drop off quite a bit. The first season, I feel like, looks a lot better. Because you got Greg Fraser, cinematographer from such things as Dune, I believe, is doing the photography in that season. So anyway, I think overall, it's disappointing a lot of people for those reasons. Mm-hmm. But this episode is pretty dope.
Yeah, all right.
It's pretty sick. And at first I was like, because essentially, the real stuff happens, and I was like, why are they waiting? Like all these Disney Plus shows, they're waiting till the last 2 episodes to get good. But also, this is very much the Mandalorian formula, where we have 6 or 7 episodes up front, and then you get the last 2 episodes where Moff Gideon shows up and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and then that's just how the show goes. So I was like, okay, this checks out.
Mm-hmm. And he showed up.
What a banger episode! So good.
There he goes.
Yeah. What did you? Drink break. Yeah. What even happens at the start? All I remember is what happens at the end. What starts out? Yeah, Bo-Katan has the Darksaber, and she's like, "We're gonna
go back to Navarro," and then they're like, "We're gonna go back to the Mandalore."
Yes.
And then they take everybody to Mandalore.
Both clans or whatever, yeah.
Both the Watch and the I don't even know what they're called, the Mercs, the mercenaries.
Yeah.
And they all go, I guess maybe they're the Night Owls, I guess.
Potentially.
They could be. Regardless, they all form their new clan together, and they go to Mandalore.
Yes.
The cursed planet. And they land, and they immediately encounter more Mandalorians that survived the entire time on the planet. And they're on this big boat thing.
Yep.
But it's not in the water. It like glides across the crystal surface of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And they just get on the boat with those guys.
You guys want to go on an adventure, they said?
They're like, we'll take you to the World Forge.
Yes.
And they want to go to the Forge to find the Forge and turn it on and, I guess, and
restart this whole Mandalore thing. Let's just go get it.
Make the planet warm? I don't really know. It's sort of a Nidavellir scenario.
I think the Forge is their temple, essentially, like their most spiritual place that Mandalore is built upon.
Right.
So they're like, yeah.
So we got to go there and plunge our hearts into the planet's core soul. And so they get there, and they're like, "What's up?" And then remnants of the Empire show up.
Are those
and
jet troopers?
What's up? And they all show up, and they have a firefight. And sort of John Wick style, everyone's bulletproof.
Yep.
But some people still die.
Yep.
So they have a fight, they have a tussle, and they find their way closer to the center inside, and they find an Imperial stronghold.
Yes. We find out where Moff Gideon has been this whole time.
Moff Gideon has been hiding under the surface of Mandalore.
Yes, he has built an entire base, and he comes down in like a Sauron-looking stormtrooper outfit made out of Beskar.
Crown. Yeah.
Looking
awesome.
He shaved his mustache, too, which people were upset about. They were like, why'd you shave your mustache?
No. And so then they run away.
Din
They cap our boy.
Yep.
And then everybody else runs away, and Paz Vizsla is like, I'm just gonna die here.
Yeah. He does the
and so he
what does Saw Gerrera say in Rogue One?
I will run no longer.
Yeah, he does that thing.
Yeah.
Go!
Go! Yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I guess this guy just Jon Favreau was like, I'm not getting in that suit anymore.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I'll just let my character die.
It's fine.
Because there's a big hole behind him, and he could just shoot while backing up and then get in the hole and leave.
Right.
But he decides to instead stand just on the other side of this door that's going to close, and this bulletproof door that they shoot at and no bullets penetrate.
Yep.
He decides to stand on the other side of that door and let the door close and shoot his gun till it burns, and then he dies to the 3 Praetorian guards that show up.
Is that a Last Jedi reference? Oh my
heck yeah.
That's incredible.
So, they just... I thought that was really stupid.
They killed him.
Like, why would you... Who cares?
It gave us an excuse to see the Praetorian guards, so that was good.
I guess. But, like, he has a son, you know? Like, why did he just decides he's going to die?
Well, I mean, he saves everybody by doing that, but he probably could have just escaped with all of them.
Yeah. Not the greatest death in Star Wars, in my opinion.
There's a whole sequence where Moff Gideon walks into one of those hologram conference rooms, and he's like, "Hey guys, what if Thrawn? What if Thrawn is happening?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm impatient. I don't want to wait for Thrawn, so I'm gonna just get him going. Don't you agree,
Right.
General Hux? Hux's dad is there.
Hux.
So that's cool, I guess. I didn't even realize it was his dad. I just thought it was him. Cause
I
didn't
thought
even
it was
think
him
about
too.
it.
I was like, that guy does not look like Donald Gleason at all.
Like, you didn't just get Donald Gleason, but apparently it's his dad.
This was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
More or less. Not even that long ago. Maybe like 10, 15 years at most.
Yeah.
Regardless, the episode ends, and now we have that stuff going on Mandalore, and not enough time to do anything that they've been setting up on Coruscant at all.
Nope.
All right. So
yeah. I mean, you could have, as much as I don't care that they had Jack Black and Lizzo, just like, you could have done more of this instead. You think? Like, I'm just saying, this show could be good, but you just decide to just goof around for a bit and do something silly, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's literally fine if the seasons were like 15 episodes long.
Right.
But they're not. They're short.
No.
We didn't even
Clone Wars is
mention
better.
Baby Yoda gets a little Iron Man suit with I thought they bring back Taika Waititi's robot in, and apparently they just make it into like a little go-kart thing that Baby Yoda can control for some reason. I don't really understand why, other than it.
And it also, he has a button that says yes and no.
Yeah.
Which proves he's been understanding everything that's been said the entire time, probably.
Yeah. It's
just ignored them.
It's just annoying because they obviously had no reason to bring him back into the show other than he's cute and people won't watch it if he's not in it. So we got to bring him back.
Whatever, man.
Like, if you were going to bring him back, you could do something, I don't know, interesting.
Maybe he's like a little bigger.
Because you get the Order 66 flashback with Jar Jar Binks actor Jedi guy, and that's cool, but it doesn't mean anything really, because he's not really a part of the story right now. He's just there.
Right.
So it sounds like I don't like this show. And it's frustrating because it's so good sometimes.
Right.
I just want it to be good all the time. So like Andor. Good grief, that show is good.
Andor. Wow. That show's awesome.
Anyway.
Speaking of Mandalorian, just because we're here.
We're here. So,
I showed my father the first Mandalorian, or the first episode in Mandalore from the Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Where they meet Death Watch for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Death Watch is there, and Vizsla is there, and the Darksaber is there, and Bo-Katan is not there. But I did show him a picture of her from the Clone Wars. I was like, yep, Mandalorian stole everything from Clone Wars right out that gate. Everything from the show is actually from this better show.
Yeah.
which is true.
It's a good
Clone
show.
Wars is better.
I know.
So, and they can be episodic and not be bad because all of the
Right.
seasons are like 20 episodes long.
That's what I'm saying.
So, I don't know, Disney.
know.
You guys have like a quadrillion dollars. Can't we just make like 2 more episodes a season and call it an even 10? And then you can have your Lizzo stuff and still do actual episodes.
Yeah.
That's just me. It's just, I came to this realization while we were talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're there, and then there's only one episode. Why does this keep happening?
It happens every time almost, except for Andor, which is it's so strange because again, like we can see that you're capable of greatness.
Right. You did it.
You've done it. Why can you not do it every time?
Right.
I don't know. What are they doing over there? We talked about the announcements last week, right? The new movies they're making or whatever.
Yeah.
Daisy Ridley's back as Rey.
Daisy Ridley's going to rebuild the Jedi Order. We're going to learn about the first Jedi ever. And
I just hope they're good, you know?
I don't even know. Something else. I don't know what the third one is. They have 3 planned, and they're all not they're not like a new story.
Right.
They're just one-off films, which the last 2 one-off films they did weren't that great.
They're pretty good, though. I mean, they're not top tier, but they're pretty good.
I like Solo. Solo's good.
I like both of them. Solo is better.
Rogue One's okay.
It's okay.
Star Wars Visions Volume 2 got its first teaser trailer.
It sure did. Are you so hyped?
They ditched the anime part, which was like the whole thing. They switched it to other like worldwide animation studios.
Anime ones in there?
I think maybe
a couple
are, but I mean, I'm not saying like all these episodes are going to be bad because they're not anime. Right. I get it. They're doing like a global thing, which is cool. Yeah. So I'm still excited to see them. They have one from Aardman, which is like the Wallace and Gromit people.
Yeah. It looks incredible.
Which that'll be cool.
Yeah.
So I'm still super excited for it, and I hope it's really good. It just reminds me that all of these episodes, no matter how good they are, will never develop into anything real, which is just a bummer.
I mean, they're real still. It just won't develop into anything
they're like,
ongoing.
Yeah, they're like tech demos showing how cool Star Wars is if you just didn't do the Skywalker saga anymore.
And that's the thing. It's like, again, like you're making good Star Wars all the time. Like, give Aardman, just make a 2.5-hour Aardman Star Wars movie a completely new story. People would go freaking insane for it. Like, they would lose their minds.
Like, you guys know how cool Star Wars is, and you just won't give up on the thing that started it.
Make a feature-length trilogy of anime Star Wars movies. People will lose their minds, but they'll never do it. So,
you recently watched the Twins episode?
I did.
Pretty good.
It's a great episode, and I like that. Visions as it stands is fun because you can just be like, oh yeah, I like that thing, and it's only 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. It's like, wow, that was really good.
That's true too.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for making that. That was so nice. Except for the Studio Ghibli one where it was Baby Yoda like playing with
for 3 seconds.
Dust bunnies for a couple seconds. That was really
I don't know
weird.
what that was. That was really disappointing.
I don't know why they did that.
And they teased it like it was going to be a thing.
Maybe they did maybe they made a longer one for this season of Visions, but I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So, I don't know. No.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
Disney paid them $400 million.
They're like, we're going to fund your next film.
Yeah.
Speaking of anime, there's a movie coming out that's in theaters right now called Suzume, and it's Makoto Shinkai, who did Your Name, and many other good movies. So I want to see that soon. I don't know if I can go to the theater 3 weeks in a row, but that's what we're looking at right now.
On. Yeah.
We're getting crazy.
Get that AMC Stubs A-list, and you can go 3 days in a row.
I got a freaking Regal gift card in my wallet.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't have AMCs close to you.
No. I think the closest one is like in somewhere. I don't know.
It's in somewhere for sure.
Yeah. But let's get to the business here.
Yeah, let's get to the business. The big thing of the week.
Mm-hmm. As is tradition, I just saw the movie like an hour ago. Nice. I was in the theater.
I saw it yesterday.
So you saw it yesterday. So it's pretty fresh,
it's very fresh
in the nog.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick spoiler-free part.
Yes.
For whoever edits this, here is the timestamp right now. We're talking about the intro, where this is the part
the spoiler
without
free.
without the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
It's about Chris Pine. Chris Pine's the main character. His name is something. I don't remember.
Edwin.
Ed, I think is what he gets called most often.
Ed, yeah.
Chris Pine. I'm going to call him Chris Pine. He's in there. He had a wife and a child. That is a little bit spoilery if I continue what I'm saying. So I'm going to go back to what you saw in
a little too past tense.
Yeah, I'm going to go what you saw in the trailer. There's Chris Pine and friends, Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and the Furious franchises there. The guy from Jurassic World 2 is there.
Let's go with Detective Pikachu.
The Detective Pikachu guy, yes. The girl from It Chapters 1 and 2 is there. Richard Grant is there. They're going on
Hugh Grant.
What?
Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant. Who's Richard Grant? I don't even know.
Who's Richard Grant?
Who is that? It's Hugh Grant, right?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, Hugh Grant. That's what it said in the credits.
Hugh Grant is there. They're there. They're having a little adventure. It's a fantasy world. There's an evil witch lady doing a bad thing, and they're like, we helped her steal the wrong thing, I think is what Chris Pine says in the trailer. And they go on this quest to stop her from doing a bad thing. And it's really fun. That's all I'll say about it. And
it's a lot of fun.
As far as the plot goes. Just for context, I made it halfway through a Dungeons and Dragons campaign once in college, and nice. Then I kind of just that friend group we stopped hanging out, so I didn't finish it with
Unlucky.
them. Or they stopped inviting me. I don't remember because maybe I wasn't very fun to be around.
Off.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know much about the actual thing. Dungeons and Dragons. But I was just interested in this movie because I know the directors have made a good movie in the past, at least one good movie called Game Night. That's really funny. And I really like Chris Pine, and everybody said it was really good, so I was like, cool, I'll go see it.
Let's do that.
Yeah, what are your first impressions? What do you know about Dungeons and Dragons as a whole?
Well, I'm currently in a campaign right now.
Oh,
actually,
he's a campaigner,
but it's not Dungeons and Dragons specifically because there is like a whole Dungeons and Dragons is one tabletop RPG,
right?
There's a whole plethora of different games and different systems and different worlds and blah blah blah. So I'm in something called the Forbidden Lands, and you wash up on the beach and you have to survive. It's very open ended. There's dungeons, there's dragons, there's evil wizards. There's traps. We're in a village, and there's this ancient script that no one knows what the words mean. And if you decipher 5 of the words and you find the passphrase, you can open the ancient stone chest and get your gift. Whatever.
Gift.
So that's what we're doing right now. It's a lot of fun. Basically, it's just a bunch of people pretending to do stuff, and then there's rules to make it seem more realistic. It's fun. But yeah, as far as official D&D 5e, there's all the rules and classes and chaotic good and all that stuff is very, very complex and nebulous and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know any of that to watch this movie at all.
Right.
It doesn't even start with like a couple of kids sitting around a table like Stranger Things.
Sure.
And like it dives into the map, and then they're playing the campaign, and there's like annoying narration the entire time.
Yeah.
It's just a fantasy movie with the Dungeons and Dragons name on the top to get people in the theater.
Yeah.
And it's good. So
it's a fun time.
I think this is. I mean, it's been a while since I watched a Chris Pine movie. I skipped Wrinkle in Time.
Yep.
I skipped the one that came out last year,
Wonder Woman 84.
I skipped all of Wonder Woman's movies. I skipped Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, yes.
It's been a while since I've seen Chris Pine in a movie.
He's really good in that.
I thought he picked up right where he left off in Star Trek Beyond. I was like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
He's playing a bard.
We need to do a Star Trek episode. I love those movies.
We should. Those movies are all so good. All three.
All three of them are good.
Uh-huh.
Why do people hate Into Darkness so much? It's really annoying.
Oh, I thought people hated Beyond. I think Into Darkness is awesome.
They might, but people hate Into Darkness. Like Star Trek fans hate that movie for some reason.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I think the performances are good across the board.
Yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez, right?
Yes.
I haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious. I know her from Lost.
Right.
So I thought
Avatar, the first one she's in.
Oh, that's right. She's in Avatar too. I think she did well. She's a barbarian. She's kind of dumb the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I think his name is Justice Smith.
That sounds right. Yes.
The guy from Detective Pikachu.
Yep.
He's doing an unconvincing British accent. And if he is British, then I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
My bad.
Yeah.
He's playing a wizard who's not very good at wizarding. And then there's what's her name? Derek? I don't know the actress's name at all.
Sophia Lillis, I believe, is her name.
Sophia Lillis. Yes. She's playing a tiefling druid.
Druid.
Like a
changeling,
animal
shapeshifter.
Yeah, a changeling, yeah. So she can turn into any animal she wants.
Any animal she want.
Yeah. And she does. She turns into a bunch of different animals, which is cool.
It's pretty cool. She was really good. Yeah, I think
so.
You
it's
should
a fun
check
little
it out.
cast, and I liked it. Yeah, I
give
it a 7 because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not revolutionary.
I give it
just a fun movie.
A 6.5. So
okay.
I think there were some
right there with Mario.
There were some kids in the theater. I feel like you could take your kids to this if they're like, somewhere like 8 or so, 8 or older. Probably they'd be like, cool.
I mean, there's like zombie-esque corpses and scary evil witches and a couple jump scares, but it's not really like there's no blood.
Yeah, no.
Or any like
and that
dismemberment.
That zombie corpse scene is like the funniest section of the movie.
Yeah, it's played for humor in the entire time.
It's very funny.
So there's not even scary music really.
Yeah, it's pretty good. 6.5. Josh gave it a 7. Spoilers now.
All right.
Full spoiler plot. Here we go. Chris
the movie
Pine
sucked.
No. Chris Pine has a wife and a daughter. What does he do to be punished? He you saw it so much more recently than me.
Chris Pine is a harper.
Yes.
Which is a band of honorable knights. And they don't get paid much for their services.
Right.
And so he's capturing some red wizards, the Thayans.
The vow they take is to like only do things for the good of others and take nothing for yourself, right? That's the whole that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. And so they don't get paid much. They have a very humble abode.
Yes.
But they have each other, a lesson he hasn't learned yet. And so he steals some gold while he is taking a prisoner, and he gets caught, and then he
He steals gold.
He
that
steals
is
the gold and
marked
gets punished by the
red
Thans.
wizards.
Yes. So they come and kill his wife.
Yes.
And she's able to hide the daughter, so she lives.
She lives, yes.
But his wife is killed.
And he's like, I don't want my job anymore. I don't want this job.
Yes.
I'm going to be a bad person now.
So he becomes a thief.
Yeah.
And because that's definitely not what got him punished.
Right.
So to speak. And then he becomes a thief and raises his daughter as a thief as well.
Yep.
And then they go and do things. And then one time he says, it's too dangerous. Even though you have invisibility and you've grown up doing this your entire life.
Because they're after...
It's too dangerous.
He's going to try to get this tablet thing that could bring his wife back to life.
Right.
He's like, we're going to go get this, but you have to stay here because it's too dangerous.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want to give her hope that this would work, and then they fail.
Yeah.
This is very important.
This is very
He
important.
does not tell her what this tablet does.
He's just going to get something.
Yeah. And so he leaves, and they fail. The wizard that they go with another. This person gives them a job to do, right?
This
to go
wizard
to this
lady
place to steal these relics, and they fail. Michelle Rodriguez and Chris Pine get captured. The wizard girl, the wizard guy, and this con man dude who's played by Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, yes.
They all escape. And so the movie starts in prison with him like pleading to get out, and they have this plan based entirely on this one guy to be there because he's a bird man, and they can use him to escape out the window behind them.
Jarnathan is his name.
Jarnathan, yes, that's right.
A great name.
And so he tells this entire backstory. It's very reminiscent of the beginning of the campaign, where you stand up and you introduce your character to the people in the game, and you're like, I am Edwin Hydethorn, and this is my tale, you know?
Yeah.
And so you talk about your story or whatever. And they escape prison, and they get back, and then he wants to find his daughter.
Yep.
Kira.
Who he knows is has the Hugh Grant character has taken her to safety essentially and has been watching over her. So he's like, we got to find Hugh Grant.
Yeah. So they go into town to Neverwinter, where it is ever summer.
Yes.
And they find out he is the king of the place, the Lord of Neverwinter. And
a
they
Lord
go there.
Farquaad situation.
Very much
face
so.
Everywhere.
And they find out that he lied about what happened. They abandoned you.
To Kira, the daughter, yes.
Yeah, Kira's there. He's like, you abandoned her for this tablet of riches, and blah, blah, blah. You guys are terrible. I will raise her as my own, which has some disgusting undertones, if you ask me.
Oh, yes, of course.
Regardless, they leave because he's going to kill them, basically.
Yes.
And then he tells Kira again that they left when I gave them the tablet. So they got their tablet of riches and they left.
Right.
And she's like super pissed off now.
Screw
like,
those
what
guys.
The heck?
Screw my.
You abandoned me
those
twice.
Guys.
Yeah. And so then they are imprisoned and they leave and they have some adventures. They build their crew back up and they get this helmet that can undo enchantments.
A magic
and
helmet.
They meet
Druid girl.
This guy from Sandman,
yes.
I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, they meet the sorcerer, they meet the druid, they meet the super awesome knight who's really, really high level and can do everything on his own. I think he's in Sandman on Netflix. I think that's it.
Potentially.
Regardless. I haven't seen it, but I feel like I've seen his face on that. So they get this helmet, and then he leaves. The really, really strong knight guy leaves.
Yep.
And they then They come back to town to Neverwinter to free Kira and punish the con man Hugh Grant, as well as they find out about the sorceress lady is a red witch, who are like the evil of the people, the scourge of the land. And she has a secret plan to use this horn to turn everybody into zombies so she can use them to control the world, I guess.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, she's evil for evil's sake. It's fun.
It's like it's very weirdly reminiscent of Thor: The Dark World, and Malekith is like trying to turn everybody into dark elves and stuff, and he does he floats in the sky, and big red in the ether is like it looks a lot like that. Yeah,
that is reminiscent. Yes,
a great movie. Some would say. Some would say.
Some probably would. Yeah, not me.
The same
personally.
People who think Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie ever made.
Oh gosh, we gotta stop bringing that up every episode. Those people are terrible.
Anyway, continue. There's a tournament. They're like,
yeah. So they enter the tournament.
You seen the Maze Runner? It's like that.
Yeah, it's like that. So they find a jelly cube. That's a classic dungeon monster, the jelly cube, that slowly eats you from the inside. They go in this tournament because it's the only way to escape the death penalty for getting caught again. And then they escape imprisonment. They
outsmart the tournament thing. Because it's like a big arena with all these pillars that move up and down. And they like find a way to get into the inner workings of the system and find a way out.
And then they escape on the boat with all the stolen riches that everybody brought to gamble with on these games. And they leave, but then they look back and they're like, shoot, we gotta kill this wizard lady.
There's a big red storm a-coming, and all the people are gonna be zombies if we don't go back.
And he's a man of honor among thieves.
He made a promise earlier in the movie to a really good night guy. He was like, "Yeah, I'll give the gold to the people, whatever." Okay, fine. So he's like, "I guess I got to do that now."
So they go back and they have a big boss battle with the lady.
Yep.
And actually cool fights.
Really cool.
Throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, all across the board.
Some good magic in this fight. A couple hands, really big hands, fight each other, which was cool. And they fight her and they win, but Michelle Rodriguez has been stabbed by the ancient Red Witch blade, and you cannot survive. You cannot
sparkling
survive.
Ice.
Oh, woo!
You can't survive the
right through
sparkling
my
ice
eyeballs.
spell.
Holy cow. Yeah. So you
grief.
get stabbed by a red wizard's blade,
and you die.
You cannot survive. There's no magical cure. So she dies, and then Kira's there, and she's sad because Michelle Rodriguez basically raised her as her mother, surrogate mother, after her real mother died. And Chris Pine's like, you know what? You're right. I wasn't trying to save your mom. I was trying to save my wife, which are the same person,
right?
Literally speaking, but narratively speaking, we know who Michelle Rodriguez is. We don't know who this other lady was.
Right.
So he takes out the tablet of reawakening and resurrects her there, and she's like, "What the heck, guys? Why would you waste this on me?"
Yeah.
And the crowd laughs, and we're all like,
"Because we love you, Michelle Rodriguez." Yay.
Yeah. And then everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And the movie is over now.
Yep. Hugh Grant is in prison now. He's like, "This is my story." And they're like, "Nah, but the credits." So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good movie.
It was pretty fun.
I liked it. I'm not a huge. So here's my thoughts on why it's only a 6.5 in my head. I'm not a huge fantasy guy. I'm not. That's why it's hard for me to watch things such as Game of Thrones, because I'm not that into the fantasy type of genre.
As much as sci-fi.
As much as you would say sci-fi, or like Star Wars isn't science fiction. It's like Star Wars is still fantasy, but it's like space and stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, I'm never front in line for fantasy things, for whatever reason. I also don't love like period pieces. They aren't really my thing. So anyway, I think that's just to say I probably
you like looking to the future.
I like looking to the future, yes.
To space.
Like Lord of the Rings doesn't do it for me that much. Not super into it. So all that to say, I probably won't rewatch it very often. And also to compound into that, it's also a comedy, which I'm not against comedy films, and this movie is very funny. But the thing about comedies are, once you hear the jokes once, they're never funny again. And for me anyway, that's a very personal thing. And also like the problem with the biggest problem for a comedy movie is like you put your jokes in the trailer, and you're a guy like me who goes to the movie theater very often, and I've seen the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons so many times. And all of the jokes were funny the first time I heard them, and then I heard them 12 more times in the trailers, and then I heard them again in the actual movie, and I didn't laugh because I knew they were coming. And there are obviously really good jokes in there that weren't in the trailer, but that's just something that holds a movie back from being super good for me personally. I like drama. I'm not in my movies. And there is some good drama. I like all the Chris Pine character arc is very well structured, I thought.
Yeah.
They set up this like imagery of is it blue dragonfly or purple dragonfly?
Yeah, I think it's a blue
dragonfly. He's talking to his wife, or you get kind of interspliced flashbacks of him and his wife during this one day where there's a dragonfly in their bedroom and they both hide from it. And then his wife's like, you got to catch it or whatever. And he's trying to catch it. And she's like, stop trying to capture it. You have to let it go. And that comes back later in the movie. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And they do it. They bring it back later in the movie without saying it. They show it to you. Show, don't tell, as they would say in the business. Because at the end of the movie, when Michelle Rodriguez is dead, you can tell that Chris Pine is struggling with the choice of whether to bring his wife back or Michelle Rodriguez back, and a blue dragonfly flies over, and it kind of symbolizes like his wife telling him, look, like I had my time, stop trying to recapture that, like let me go, you have a chance to salvage something that was really beautiful for you and your daughter and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's really nice. That's a really good, that's a movie right there. That's great.
It's like
movie
if
magic,
I were,
baby.
More emotional, it might have made me cry.
Right.
Like I could feel it underneath. I was like, yes, heartwarming.
And it doesn't do the like, it doesn't do the like Deadpool jokes. You know what I mean? Like can you believe I brought this person back to life? Blah, blah, blah. Or like, isn't this whole situation silly? Or like it doesn't do the, and I saw a lot of the Twitter discourse being like, a lot of video game movies, like, they were like, wow, people who play video games are like nerds who live in their parents' basement and they're lame.
Right.
But watch this video game movie. It doesn't do that. It's not like, can you believe Dungeons and Dragons, people? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean?
Right. It's just straight up like, this is a fun fantasy film.
Yeah. It doesn't
you can do this in Dungeons and Dragons.
It takes itself seriously. It doesn't take it, but at the same time, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it also doesn't make fun of itself, which is just like, it's a nice place to be, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not gonna be like, wham, best movie of the year,
right?
You know, best visual effects, blah blah blah. I don't think it'll be. It's not revolutionary, but like I had fun watching it. It made me laugh. I liked it. You know, can't complain.
You can't complain. Yeah, and there's there's a lot of good like practical effects. Like Jarnathan is like they built that bird costume for real.
Bird.
And there are a bunch
I think
of like
the dragonkin
people.
are real too. Yeah.
There's a cat person at one point that looks a lot better than that movie Cats. That's for sure. Yeah, it's like a super fun movie, which is not a bad thing at all. I think it's great.
They have the portal gun, and they call it the hither dither stick.
Yeah, I thought it's one of those movie things where it's just like, oh, let me pull this item out of my bag that I've had this whole time that could have solved many problems. To use.
And like didn't know what it was.
But I did like how they used it in a cool way. They like used it in like a silly way in the, what did they call it? The Undercroft. No, that's something else. I don't remember what they call that place, but they use it when they're where the dragon is, the chubby dragon is.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what the Undercroft is?
It's well they say that in that Spider-Man movie that came out most recently. And Doctor Strange is like, you can work in the Undercroft, and it's like just where he does his laundry or whatever. They're like, cool. So
it's not the Undercroft I was thinking of, but that's okay.
They use it later in the movie, the portal stick, in a creative way. And I liked that what they tried to do didn't actually work. It's very Mission Impossible, now that I'm saying it. And I love Mission Impossible movies. The heist thing, and they have, like in the Mission Impossible movies, the most recent ones with Tom Cruise, everybody's favorite guy. They have these really like outlandish gadgets that can, the mask thing where it's a printer that can print, a face that literally transforms you into the other person. Like Tom Cruise turns himself into that actor's name. He's in Hunger Games. I don't remember. Anyway, they have these like crazy, unrealistic, outlandish gadgets, but like every time they go to use them in the actual heist, they don't work. So they have to like figure out how to work around it and be creative and like do the Mission impossibly without their like dumb gadgets. It's really clever. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Very Iron Man 3.
Oh, what a great film.
That's a good movie. I got to get on watching the MCU again before June here.
I was just about to say, yeah. I moved some things around in my MCU ranking yesterday or the day before. And by June, we will have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 for sure. So that's so hype.
The final,
I have my ticket for sure.
Like a lot of people's final hope for the MCU.
Including myself.
Because the one and only movie in Phase 5 so far was so unbelievably god-awful, terrible, the worst movie that it's ever existed, that everybody has immediately given up on the Marvel movies.
Yes.
And it was just a complete disaster, just terrible.
Yeah.
Mere months after Black Panther Wakanda Forever blew everyone away. I hate people so much, man. It's so annoying.
That's just
they're just like, it sucks. This movie sucks.
It's Twitter brain
the
for
MCU
sure.
Is terrible.
Which that movie does suck, but like we don't have to give up on the entire.
It wasn't
MCU.
even that bad.
It's not that bad, but it's pretty bad. For me anyway. I'm not. They're pretty much 50-50 for me at the moment in order of release. So I'm like, you know what? That's good news for
good.
Volume 3.
We got this one out of the way, so Guardians can come out and be good.
But genuinely, if like against all odds, if Volume 3 is like the worst movie I've ever seen, I might have a mental breakdown and
be like, dang,
I have to shut this thing down. Yeah,
you're like, Flash better be really good.
I'm so excited for that movie. I'm
so sorry for you.
I love how much people hate the way it looks and hate that it's coming out. I'm gonna have so much fun. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
And
I'll report back.
I cannot support.
I'm not even gonna make you watch it. I'm gonna go
Thanks, man.
by myself, and I'm gonna tell you.
It's not even part of the new thing. It's like still.
Supposedly, it's gonna like reset everything or whatever.
I guess. Then I already know the plot. Like,
right. I think.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Is it called Flashpoint?
No, it's just called The Flash.
I see.
But it's essentially Flashpoint, yes.
All right.
I don't know, man.
What have you been reading? You've probably been reading something.
I actually haven't been I haven't been reading anything, actually.
Oh.
I've been watching a television series called
Blue Lock.
Superman and Lois. Not Blue Lock yet. I got distracted by this show called Superman and Lois. You're aware of the CW, that television platform? What is it? What would you call that? That network, television network?
Yeah, a channel. Maybe
you're aware of the CW.
I saw probably 4 seasons of The Flash and 4 or 5 seasons of The Arrow.
Okay,
Green Arrow,
that's
whatever.
good.
So I'm there.
So you know where I'm
at. And I watched Supergirl, first season of Supergirl.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Supergirl's in there, yeah. She has her show.
Okay.
Supergirl has a show.
And there was DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes, you're all in there. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
There's now Stargirl happened for a minute. Black Lightning happened for a minute. Anyway, the big 3, Arrow, The Flash, and Supergirl. They introduced Superman, played by Tyler Herklin or something is his last name. It's spelled weird.
Okay.
He's introduced in Supergirl, I believe.
Yeah.
And then he gets his own show called Superman and Lois. And you've seen Arrow and The Flash and Supergirl some.
It was a long time ago, but yes.
They're not great shows. I think the first season of Arrow, the first 2 seasons of Arrow actually are pretty freaking great.
Yeah.
Super nostalgic for me personally.
Deathstroke
comes in there. He's awesome. I think the first season of The Flash was good. I don't really remember because it's been so long. And there's like 37 seasons of that show.
And that show is just like, it's a romance.
Right. It's the CW.
It's just.
So is Arrow. I mean, he's sleeping with everybody all the time. Anyway, they'll show like.
You have failed their city.
Yeah. That show starts so hardcore, and by the end, it's just like. It's super wacky and like Oliver Queen dies like 7 different times and is brought back to life. Right. Anyway,
I mean,
varying levels of quality. They're all very CW, right? Especially the later seasons and Supergirl, as much as I saw of it.
Right.
But Superman and Lois, I heard rumblings for years now about Superman and Lois that it was really good. It's in its 3rd season, so I guess it hasn't been that long. But it's going 3rd season. First 2 seasons are on HBO Max. I started the first season. I'm almost done with it. I remembered how long network television series are. This season's like 15 episodes. I'm used to 6, 7, 8 episodes. Like, this is long. Like, what is this, a filler episode? And there's still 10 episodes left?
You're like, yeah.
Holy cow.
Let's do it.
I've been enjoying it quite a bit. It was getting lots of good reviews. Lots of people said it was really good. It still has the CW budget, so when Superman's off doing Superman things, it looks really bad. The visual effects are terrible.
Yes.
But at the same time, when he's not flying around and doing all that stuff, the cinematography is actually really delicious. And it's a Superman story unlike anything you've ever seen on the screen, everybody.
Oh, wow.
Because it's Superman and his wife, Lois Lane, and which in the comics and in the show, they have twin sons. One of their names is Jordan. Crazy.
Heck yeah.
Right? And the other one's name is...
Good for you.
What if the other one's name was Joshua? That would be crazy.
That'd be pretty wild.
I almost said it, but it's not true. His name is Jonathan. Close. Jordan and Jonathan Kent are twins. And at the beginning of the season, Jordan Kent is developing powers. It's the Superman powers. They're in a barn and some stuff falls on them and they survive and they're like, whoa, what? How is that possible? We didn't think you had powers. Well, that thing happens and they think, so one of them, Jonathan, is super athletic. He's the popular kid at school. And Jordan has severe mental health issues and he's a nerd and all this stuff. He's not really a nerd, but he gets bullied and he has mental health issues and he's not the star athlete. So this incident happens where a barn caves in on them essentially and they survive and they're like, wow, you, the athletic kid, are developing powers. because you're the popular one. And then they find out that it's actually Jordan developing powers and not the athletic kid. So there's this drama dynamic between these brothers where like Jonathan is the star. He's not the star athlete, but he's on the football team, and Jordan now has powers, and he's like, I want to join the football team because I'm a super boy now. And he starts like taking over the team. They're like, yeah, this kid is the best. And Jonathan's like, what the heck, man? Football's my thing. Football. And you know, they have their little teen romance thing happening and all that. But it's like, it's honestly really mature. Like he deals with severe anxiety in these things, and they have really good like character development around that and the relationship that he builds with his girlfriend and all this stuff. And then at the same time, you have Lois Lane is an interesting character somehow. And so they all move out of Metropolis to Smallville as a family, to the family farm. And Lois Lane is now like this world-renowned reporter in the small town trying to find her like...
The story.
Her place, find the story. And Superman's out here being Superman. But they moved to Smallville because he's like, I need to focus on being a dad. I've been doing too much Supermaning. I gotta be a good dad now. So they moved to Smallville, but wouldn't you know it, there's some trouble afoot in Smallville, and Superman's got to do Superman things, and it's structured really well. Where like Superman's out here doing like godlike Superman things, while at the same time Lois Lane is like helping with just like normal people problems, and like but it's good. It's hard to explain, but like it's just interesting like how these characters work together with like the dad is an alien who's been on Earth, who's a godlike superhero, and who's married to just a normal woman who's a reporter, and they have two twin sons. One of them's a superhero, half god, half man, and the other one's just a normal guy, but they're all valuable in their own ways, and they work together in different ways. It's just really great. I'm just having a great time. Yeah. So
is Mr. Freeze involved?
Not yet. I mean, he might be later, but
you let me know if Mr. Freeze shows up. Maybe I'll get in.
I will.
What's his name? Leonard Snart or something?
Something like that, yeah.
That's not Mr. Freeze. He's just like Snart. He's just some other guy who has a cold gun.
Yeah. Snart.
Snart.
I'm Leonard Snart.
The guy from Prison Break.
Oh. Anyway.
I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two.
What have you been watching good lately?
TikTok has become...
You've been watching TikTok?
I've been watching it, and it's good.
There's some good content on there. Some character
Rest in peace, Montana. They don't have TikTok anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So...
I wasn't aware.
Regardless. Yeah.
Nobody lives there anyway. Take that, Montana.
A huge problem.
Yeah.
Get wrecked.
I got you good.
It's there's like a whole industrial complex of people just posting clips from movies.
Yeah.
And there'll be like entire accounts dedicated to posting an entire movie.
Yep.
In like 3-minute clips.
Also,
throughout the whole movie.
I stumbled upon a live feed of the Super Mario Brothers movie from somebody in the theater, just like having their phone. It's like this is. Don't do that.
I mean that's like I was just scrolling Twitter, and this guy had somehow managed to, in 2 videos on his account, the entirety of Iron Man 2009.
No way.
Just in 2 videos, you could just watch Iron Man on Twitter.
Wow.
So shout out to that guy. That's a great time.
That's a great movie. Top tier MCU,
on the Twitter player,
according to me.
Good luck with that. Anyway, you watch these. You scroll through. I like movies, so I like movie videos. And this guy posts a TikTok of one of the random scene from Arrival. And then I watch Arrival.
Oh, yeah.
And it's 10 out of 10. And
10
it's
out
just
of 10
like, boom.
film.
Right? And then recently, a couple different clips of Moneyball showed up on my feed, and I was like, I just get a subconscious craving to watch Moneyball. I don't know what happened. I have to watch Moneyball.
Yeah.
And so I watched it the other day, and it's all right.
Oh,
I mean,
that's good.
If you like baseball, it's cool. I grew up watching a lot of baseball, so it's like, I think baseball movies are like a whole genre on their own. They're better, like a tier higher than sports movies in general.
Okay.
I think baseball movies are better. Like A League of Their Own. That's a good movie. Field of Dreams.
Sure.
That's a good movie.
Haven't seen this.
So
it's funny. It's funny that
like,
you watched Moneyball, because I've never thought about Moneyball ever, except even maybe yesterday was I was watching a review for the movie Air, directed by Ben Affleck, about the Air Jordan shoes. Right. And they were like, it's pretty good, but it's not as good as Moneyball. And I was like, whoa, Moneyball, that's a movie I haven't seen. Wow. And then today you're like, I watched Moneyball. It's like, wow.
You're like, what?
Maybe I should watch it. But you said it's all right? It's pretty good?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are doing a good job. You don't have to know like the history of the Athletics to know what's going on. I think it helps to know a little bit about the culture of baseball and like how people view statistics and how things were in the, what is that, the 90s, early 2000s? Yeah, like 2003. Sure. It was all very based on scouts would go out and watch people play, and if they felt it, they felt it. That's going to be a good player. Let's bring him into the league, kind of a thing. And so Billy Beane was this player who was a five-star or five-tool prospect.
Okay.
So he can run, he can throw, he can defend, he can hit, and he can hit hard, right? Like this, the five tools, whatever, of a baseball player. If you have all five, you're like a first-round pick kind of a thing. And so he got picked by the Mets, I think, and he flopped, and then he went to Tampa Bay or somewhere in Minnesota, whatever, and he like fell down the tiers until he ended his career in the Athletics. He was just a big flop. Like, it just didn't work out for Billy Beane. And so eventually he says, I don't want to play anymore, let me be a scout. And so he becomes a scout, then he works his way up, he becomes general manager of the Athletics. And the movie starts with the Athletics losing in the 2002 season to the Yankees and ALDS. And they're like, we got to change something. How do we fix it? Let's just get some new players. We're going to lose some players to good contracts. We just don't have the money. We're a poor team in a small market. We're never going to be able to compete with the better teams. And so Billy Beane is like, we got to do something else, because doing the same things over and over again, we're just going to keep losing. It's not going to work. So he tries to get this player from Cleveland, and they're like, it's not going to happen. During this conversation, he meets a guy played by Jonah Hill, who's like just a random dude in the room who's able to convince this hotshot not to give up a player he was thinking about giving up anyway. He changed his mind. He's like, nobody changes this guy's mind. How'd you do that? And he's like, I didn't. I told somebody something, and he said it in his ear, and then he made his own decision. And so he brings Jonah Hill to Oakland, and he's like, how did you do it? And they start talking about statistics and how you can figure out like how many wins you need to make it to the playoffs, how many runs you need to get those wins, how many hits you need to get those runs. And so you need to know like how many people on base do you need to get to win games. And so it completely reframes how you think. You're not about players, it's about getting wins. And he like uses this philosophy to change how the Oakland A's play baseball and how they do scouting and stuff. And of course it leads to the Oakland A's not winning a single championship since, 74, 78 when they won their last one. They still haven't won one. But every team in baseball thinks this way now. They've completely reframed history entirely. People do everything based on stats, and this like type of thinking is called Moneyball.
Moneyball.
That's kind of how that goes. Yeah,
I see. Interesting.
So like the Oakland A's can be a poor team and have all these weird players that they're not attractive. They throw weird. They're not marketable, along with being good, right?
Sure.
Everyone else has given them a chance. They kind of flopped, or they're old and they're not their contract isn't going to be worth anything. And they can put all these players together and be like, this is how we're going to play. And then they do it, right?
Yeah.
So and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting that there's so much inner workings to sports that I never think about. So
right.
Maybe I should watch Moneyball.
It's pretty complex. Yeah. It's honestly like, I think it's really cool. Yeah. Like, and it's a period piece.
Oh.
It's a baseball movie about a true story. They change a couple names of certain people for some reason. Not really important, I guess, but
sure.
It's a good movie.
When I say I don't like period pieces, I mean like I'm not going to watch Pride and Prejudice, you know what I mean? That's the period of time that I'm thinking about when I say that.
I see it. Okay.
Yeah, I just realized that in my mind.
Downton Abbey.
Yes, I'm not into that sort of thing.
Okay. Yellowstone.
Yeah, not for me, man.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool. And then yesterday at about midnight, so today, I stayed up for a couple hours watching the first 3 episodes of a show called Jury Duty, which is on Freevee TV.
Freevee TV?
You can watch it through Amazon Prime Video with ads. And so they get this random guy gets a jury summons to go to jury duty. And he comes into jury duty, and it's everyone else in the entire thing. The bailiffs, the plaintiffs, the judge, the other jurors, everyone is an actor except for this one guy who's having this real experience.
Okay.
And so they have like it's in LA, so they get James Marsden from like Sonic.
Hop.
He's a
X-Men.
He's in X-Men.
Yep.
He's in Westworld.
Yep.
And so he's there, and he's kind of buddy for a while. And they have all these other actors, and they're kind of quirky. Some of them, they have their own scripts or whatever that they're following. It is so funny, actually.
Okay.
It's so funny. So there's like this one guy is like, dude, I gotta get out of this. I'm going on a trip with my girlfriend to Cancun. Like, how do you guys get out of jury duty? And the guy who's not an actor, the only guy who's not an actor there, is like, I just remember this one time in Family Guy when Peter Griffin says that he's racist to get out of jury duty. And then this guy, they have like a whole, do you have for any reason you're not able to do jury duty here in this case? And this guy just goes, I'm going on a trip with my girlfriend. They're like, that doesn't count. He's like, anything else? And you're like, I'm a racist. And there's like, it's a whole group jury of your peers. So there are black people there, and they're like, what? And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not racist. I don't know why I said that. Like,
I am a racist.
I'm a racist.
Don't take that out of context, people who are listening
I'll clip
to this.
it for TikTok. Yeah. And so that's really funny. And then there's some girl who's like into him, and she's like trying to get him to break up with his girlfriend who's on a trip to Cancun with her friends. But one of the friends, his name is Cody. And she's like, oh, Cody's a dude. Like, she's out there with some dude. And he's like, Cody could be a girl. And they like do investigating. And one of the witnesses' names is Cody. And he's a guy. and they're like, "Oh, it's Cody is a guy." See, so it's just a lot of fun. You should watch it for sure.
Sounds good. Are they?
I won't spoil anything else.
Yeah, it's on. You said it's on Amazon Prime via free.
Yeah, it's 6 episodes. If that's not a red flag.
You said you watched the first episode of that show called Poker Face, right? By Ryan Johnson. I saw somebody was like, man, it's a year for prestige television, and they like listed like Succession, Andor, Poker Face, a couple other things, and I was like, Poker Face. I thought the show was bad. Apparently apparently people think it's good, but
I don't know. I watched the first episode and I was like,
yeah.
But it was only the first episode, so maybe I should give it another
we're not
chance.
blinded by our love for Ryan Johnson. He can do,
exactly.
Yeah. That's just
true.
we're being.
It's just that the episode of Star Wars that he did do was perfect.
Yes.
And has no flaws.
Exactly. No flaws at all, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, I saw a tweet from Star Wars Theory. Do you know all the Star Wars Theory guy drama with this guy?
I don't know the drama. I know of the.
Oh my gosh.
The person, yes.
Yeah, so Star Wars Theory is a YouTube channel. He's got a whole persona, social media, and everything. His name is Star Wars Theory,
sure.
Right? He reads all the books and all the comics, everything Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. He's
seen it all. He's done it all. He is often brought to Star Wars events, invited to things, because he has a big following, over 1 million subscribers, I think, on YouTube. He does blah, 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 whatever, right?
Yeah.
One of the first times this guy had a bad opinion, right? People didn't like what he said, was he didn't like Andor.
Oh, no.
And he said one of the reasons he didn't like Andor was because there were bricks in Star Wars. I kid you not. He says, it doesn't make sense. There's no bricks in Star Wars. There's like bricks and nails and stuff. It's not real.
Okay.
Like Star Wars is too,
The same people who go, The Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie because the plot revolves around a ship running out of fuel. Ships don't run on fuel in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. There's no fuel.
Yeah,
oh,
so
boy.
He hates The Last Jedi for the classic Luke wouldn't act that way.
I think he would.
Idea. Mm-hmm. I think he would.
I think it's very consistent with his character and the things that they say happened to him.
Right.
Because if you'll remember, guy who thinks this way, the things that you're thinking of that happened in the books, those are not canon anymore. And this is all new information. This is a new story. And given the information that Ryan Johnson has written, I think this is very consistent with what we know about Luke Skywalker.
And other Jedi that trained him.
Yep. So I think you guys are wrong.
You guys are fools.
Dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got him. We got him this time.
Anyway,
so there.
I saw a tweet about him complaining about how... Well, yeah, first and foremost, he hated Andor because of bricks. And ever since then, anytime someone every tweet he has, there's just pictures of bricks and nails, and then like pictures from Star Wars with bricks and nails in them.
Right.
Because of course there are bricks in Star Wars.
Yeah, what do you mean there aren't bricks?
Yeah. Anyway,
they're speaking English.
Right. He had a tweet the other day or yesterday I saw where he was complaining about The Last Jedi while also praising Rise of Skywalker, and I just was like, oh my, man, how the mighty have fallen.
Did you see me giving the Rise of Skywalker some credit this week?
Yeah, I saw your tweet of a good shot from Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I said this
and
shot's
it's like a
pretty good.
super dark
I know,
picture barely visible.
I know.
I was like, huh?
It looks really good in the theater, though. I really like it. So
I don't remember what that's from. I've only seen it one time. So
again,
I take great pride in that.
I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just saying I really like this shot from this bad movie. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway, you haven't finished your story
Cinematography
yet.
transcends. I was just saying, he likes Rise of Skywalker and hates The Last Jedi, and I think
he's
that's
upset.
the final nail in his coffin.
Yeah,
so.
the final brick in his coffin.
Oh,
let's go. Let's
so.
get him.
And it's really sad because I watched his videos a long time ago, many years ago, when he was, he just talked about the lore of Star Wars, and I was like, this is cool.
And let's say, we don't have to, ostracize somebody for having one bad opinion. That's a very Twitter thing to do.
So true.
But
but when you have two
bad opinions, that's a little too much, especially when the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, the Rise of Skywalker and the Last Jedi are involved because there are two correct opinions you can have with regard to those movies. One is good and one is bad, and if you don't align with the correct opinion, then you are in the wrong. So,
that's a fact.
I'm going to rewatch Rise of Skywalker pretty soon, I think, and I'm going to report back and see if it's actually as bad as we think it is.
You win the war.
I'm going to see if I can. I'll watch it, and I'll see if I can convince you to rewatch it. Here's what I want to
see if you can sit through the whole entire thing without getting up and leaving.
Because this was your idea. You texted a while back where you said we should do episodes where we take on a persona or like an opinion and just like argue that opinion whether we really agree with it or not. So here's
right.
For a future episode, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna rewatch Rise of Skywalker, and I'm going to take on the persona of somebody who loves that movie, and I'm gonna defend it. And at the end of that episode, I will reveal whether I actually believe those things or not. And then we'll see if I can convince you to watch it or not, or tell you that you never need to watch it again. How's that for an episode, you guys?
I like it. I like this idea.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Maybe.
Cool.
Or maybe we'll never do it. No, I'll do it.
I believe you.
Maybe I'll do it secretly, and I'll just I'll watch it, and then just a random episode will be like, man, The Rise of Skywalker is really good. I'll be like, no way.
No, stop.
Anyway, we can wrap this thing up, I think.
Yeah. I keep buying new books.
Why?
So I started reading this manga. I started reading another one. I started reading one on my phone. I started rereading I Am Number 4.
I got a book too. You want to see this? I got this.
Batman. Hush. Oh goodness, scary.
Yep.
So we'll see if I ever get around to Dune, finishing that. I got 200 pages left, roughly.
Dang.
I mean, here's the weird thing.
Okay.
It's really, really good.
Dune is?
I really, really like Dune. I can't. It's dense.
It is.
And sometimes the chapters where it's just it's hot and dry in this desert.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know.
And my name is Paul Atreides, and I am the savior of this land. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make it past
that's one of the other
couple
things
chapters.
too, is they give away everything that's going to happen in the entire thing. At the beginning of every chapter, there's an excerpt from a fake book that the princess wrote after the events of this book finish.
Because it's a prophecy,
and it's
right?
Right. And so she'll just have a quick little blurb about how when so-and-so died, it was sad. And I'm like, well, he hasn't died yet, so that's a bummer.
That's something to look forward to.
So I stopped reading those because I was like, yep, you're just going to continue to spoil the book before I get there.
But maybe they're misleading you. Maybe they're purposely misleading you. Probably not, though.
Well, that guy did die, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. And at first, I really liked how you could hear the thoughts of every character. But when it reveals who's going to betray who, also, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Okay.
We're kind of just spoiling the whole thing. So. But I do like it.
That's good.
It's very obvious what's going to happen.
Sure.
And maybe they are misleading me this entire time by spoiling everything, and then
you'll be a fool.
It's lying. Yeah. And if that happens, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But so That's where I'm at. I genuinely believe, even though I know everything that's going to happen in the first 6 Game of Thrones books, I feel like I'm capable of bursting through those.
Let's do it. Let's see it.
So, there's hope.
I got to make room in my schedule to start watching that show, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Let's be honest.
I got almost 4,700 pages.
Dang.
Plus the 200 from Dune. So.
And I have 8 seasons, so 9 including House of Dragon. There's my burp.
And you'll probably have time for Aegon's Conquest, whatever that show is called.
Yeah. If Max doesn't go under by then.
Max.
Anyway, let's wrap it up. It's about time.
Okay,
wrap it up. What's that?
I'm gonna do my best to watch another movie before we record again. Yes. Hopefully, I can get to the theater sometime and watch Suzume. I'd challenge you to watch some Makoto Shinkai movie. I can give you a list. They're all very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
You already saw Your Name, which you liked.
Yeah, I like that movie.
There's like Garden of Words. What is that other one called? Weathering with You. People like that one.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Let's do it.
And so those are fun. Watch Blue Lock.
Maybe I'll do that.
There's a couple other anime that I'll talk about next week, probably, since we're out of time. But
yeah.
And we have the Mando season finale, so maybe we'll do a full.
Oh yeah.
A more broad retrospective on that show.
That'd be great.
As well. Because we can't have enough episodes with Pedro Pascal in the thumbnail.
That's right. Those tend to do very well.
They literally, our best episode has his name and face in the title and thumbnail. So
it's a great strategy.
We're gonna have
put
to
him in
milk
every episode. Yeah.
sorry, Pedro. We need to watch the Massive Weight of Unbearable Talent or whatever.
Oh, I never even told you because I didn't finish it. I started it and I did finish it, but
I
thought it was okay. It wasn't doing too much for me, so I didn't finish it.
Bummer.
Yep.
But yeah, that has been episode 48.
Wow. Almost
of
50 episodes.
Quarter Twins Weekly Review, the show where we weekly review things and stuff of that nature.
I thought this was one of our better ones, probably because Joshua has been awake for many hours, not many hours, but for more hours than just waking up.
Yeah, I thought I'd come with a little bit of extra energy.
Yeah,
because I'll have you guys know, I tried making a TikTok yesterday.
No way.
For the first time. And I sat there trying to clip some episodes from our John Wick episode, and I got bored watching our own podcast.
Yeah, it happens.
So I thought I'd bring a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of zest.
I think that's good
to my performance today, and hopefully I can continue to.
It's not a performance, guys. It's we're not putting on an act here. This is all genuine for sure.
No, you're right. You're right. Of course. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. You can skip to this part of the episode to hear the end of the episode. Follow us on Twitter, please. We're still at 5 followers. I've been begging. No one has been clicking follow on. Yeah. Actually, it's probably over there. Because I reversed the footage, so I'm over there in the video. So, which means I'm over there in the video. So it's gonna be over there.
You're over.
I'll be over there.
Am I pointing
and
at
the
you?
Twitter is over there. Okay. Yeah, under you. Directly below you will be Twitter. Yeah. So right there. 25 PCT, 100 PCT.
That's us.
Follow us
Easy
on
to
Twitter.
remember.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week for Mandoverse. And adios, goodbye, farewell.
Goodbye.